Do you ever feel like you're not really getting anywhere in your business, or you're not sure what to do next? It's probably because you don't know where you are at right now and what you need to do to get to where you want to go. So today we're going to talk about the key metrics that creatives like you need to be tracking to keep things on track so that you do know where you are at and exactly what you need to do to get to where you want to go. So let's do just that.
Hello and welcome to Brand Your Passion, the show that helps you turn the thing you love the most into something that people know and love you for. I'm your host, Holly Arnett, the brand coach for creatives, and I'm on a mission to make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. If you're ready to get more eyes on your work, more dollars in your pocket, and more creativity in your life, you're in the right place. Welcome. Let's brand your passion.
Before we start the episode, I want to tell you all about the tool that I use to track all of my metrics in my business Maker and Moxie, and that is Notion. Notion is an all-in-one workspace that you can use to brainstorm ideas, keep all your business information, track your analytics, and so much more. In fact, I use it to do everything for this podcast, Brand Your Passion. I use it to plan the episodes, keep track of where all the episodes are at, project manage everything, write all the episodes, keep track of what links are included, and writing the show notes and all of that good stuff, and tracking all of the metrics for the podcast. So you could do that too, or you can customize Notion to use it however you need and to look however you want to. So if you want to give Notion a try, you can check out my free brand experience audit template via the link in the description. This brand experience audit template will let you go through every step in your brand experience to see how it's performing and what you could improve to make sure that you are giving your customers the best experience you possibly can, and also try out Notion in the process. So if that sounds good to you, check out the link in the description. Now let's talk metrics. When it comes to running a business, there are so many decisions that you have to make. In fact, so many so that there's too many decisions to make. It becomes overwhelming and you get decision fatigue. And how are you supposed to be able to make those decisions without having the right information to inform those choices, or know that you're making the right decisions for where your business is at or where you are wanting to go, to make sure that you're going to be able to make the right choice to achieve your goal, or to send you in the right direction, or get the right opportunities, or whatever it is that you want to do. So having the data to back you up really reduces that decision fatigue and helps you to be able to move forward with confidence, knowing that you've been informed by the information. Instead of just guessing and hoping for the best, you have actual facts behind you that will help you to make those decisions. Also, I know that so many of us deal with this, but it is so easy as a business owner, as a creative, as a human to get sucked into those vanity metrics, those numbers that feel important but actually don't really matter. When it comes down to like brass tacks, and when it comes to business, follows and likes don't really mean anything. They don't translate to sales and customers and clients. So even though it's hard, we really need to stop worrying about the numbers that don't matter. It's easy to get sucked into those numbers because they're the ones that are shown everywhere and give you that quick hit of dopamine and serotonin and that feel like a quick win, and that are easy to compare to other people, but actually don't have an impact on your bottom line. What does have an impact on your bottom line are the metrics that I'm about to talk to you about. So although it is, like I said, easy to get sucked into some of those vanity metrics like followers and likes, please try not to worry so much about those. Try to focus on the ones that I'm about to talk to you about, and hopefully that will release some of the pressure on those ones like followers and likes and all of that stuff. Let's talk about the metrics that I do want you to focus on and that you need to be focused on as a creative. First things first, let's talk about social media, because I know that that is the one that everybody is worried about, and that is something that people care about and want to focus on. When it comes to social media, what you actually want to focus on is impressions and engagement. Depending on what your goals are and what you're focused on right now within your business, impressions will indicate how much visibility your brand is getting. If your goal right now is to get your brand and your business in front of new people and more people, then impressions is a good way to measure that. That can tell you how many eyes your brand is getting in front of. That doesn't necessarily mean they are actually engaging in it or that they're paying attention, but it means that they have the potential to pay attention. Your brand is getting in front of them and it might capture their attention, hopefully, right? So impressions is a good way to measure visibility, and if that's your goal, then that's great. But that might not be your goal, and it doesn't have to be your goal, and often it shouldn't be your goal, because it's actually way more powerful, and people forget this. It's more powerful and cheaper and more effective to focus on the people who are already in your audience and treating them really well and getting them to be repeat customers and getting them to come back again and again and again and to tell their friends and their family and all of that stuff, than it is to try and get somebody completely new who's never heard of you before to become a super fan. So visibility is a great goal, but it might not be the right goal for you right now. But if it is, then social media impressions is a good way to measure that. And you can find that out in the insights and analytics on your social media accounts. The other thing that might be useful to measure on your social media profiles is engagement. That is things where people are actively engaging with your account. That could be tapping on polls or stickers or voting, could be commenting, saving things, sharing things, putting things on their story, DMing you, actively engaging in some way. I don't count liking as an active engagement because it's so easy to do that, or watching a story is not an engagement, but actively having to do something and take an action is engaging. Some social medias will give you an engagement rate, or you can calculate that engagement rate if you want to actually find a number, but you can also just get an idea for how engaged people are at any given moment in time. And that's a way more powerful metric to measure than likes or follows, because those are kind of fickle metrics that can go up and down and mean nothing really. But when people are actively commenting or sharing or telling their friends or voting on polls and things like that, it means people really care and they're really engaged, and you are really cultivating a community. That's really powerful, and that is what's going to get people to buy from you and recommend you to other people and all of that good stuff. So that's social media. Metric number 2 is all about email marketing. When it comes to email marketing, what you want to be tracking is email open rate and click-through rate. This should be something your email marketing provider will tell you. So for every email that you send, it should tell you these percentages, and then you might have an overall percentage of your whole email account as well. I'll link to some resources about what some of those average click-through and email open rates are, so that you can see that. But don't stress about what other people's averages are. What you want to focus on is what your averages are, and track how they're trending over time. You want to say, what are my numbers this month? Can I get 0.5% better next month, or 1% better next month, and see how you can improve each month over month and make sure that your engagement is getting better every month, because especially when it comes to email, 1% more people opening or 1% more people clicking those links can be really powerful and mean heaps more money or heaps more sales or that kind of thing. So making sure you're tracking and keeping an eye on your email open and click-through rates is really, really important. Number 3 is your website traffic. The next few are about your website. This one is just how many people are visiting your store or your website every month. I would do these on a monthly basis. Most of these things I do on a monthly basis, and I would recommend doing the same. But yeah, for your website, how many people are visiting your website every month? And you can, in Google Analytics or whatever analytics you use, your website provider might have that. You could use Google Analytics, or you could use something like Fathom Analytics. Will tell you like your website page views and unique visitors. So individual people who have visited your website, and then page views is how many total views your website has had, and that might be people coming back multiple times, whereas unique people is obviously individual people instead of people coming back multiple times. But so it's really important to know how many people are coming to your website. That's a really, really valuable piece of information to know, because you want as many people as you can to be coming to your website, right? And if you know, okay, only X amount of people came to my website, that's not enough. Then, okay, how can I get more people to come to my website? Or you find that, okay, actually a lot of people are coming to my website, but not that many people are buying once they get there. Then how can I solve that problem? And we're going to talk about that in the next bit of analytics, the next pieces of numbers. But how many people are visiting your website is step number 1. The next metric is the bounce rate of your website. So this is how quickly people leave your site. You want that bounce rate to be as low as possible. You don't want people to be quickly leaving your website. You want people to spend the most amount of time as possible on your website before they leave. So if you find that people are coming to your website and quickly leaving, that might mean that either it's loading too slowly, or it's not enticing enough, or it's broken in some way or something like that. So you really need to take a look at your website and figure out what is going on that's meaning that people are leaving really quickly. How can you make some changes or do some things that will mean that they will stay longer? Explore a little more and maybe be enticed to buy some more things. And the next one is your conversion rate. What a conversion rate means is, say there are 100 people who come onto your website and then 10 people actually buy something. That means you have a 10% conversion rate. So 10 out of 100 people are converting on your website, which is actually really great. And that's a really, really important metric to know with anything that you do. Whether you are running a workshop and you have a booking page for that workshop, and you figure out that 100 people looked at the event page and only 10 people signed up, that's a 10% conversion rate. How can I increase that conversion rate so I get 50 people signed up? Or same with your email sign up page. If 100 people see your email sign up page and one person signs up, that's a 1% conversion rate. How can I increase that conversion rate so that 90 people out of 100 sign up, you know? So conversion rate is an important metric in anything that you do, but very, very important obviously for your website and for your store, or even for people if your main call to action is for people to book a call with you or to inquire about working with you or to book a commission. Maybe your conversion rate is about how many people convert to then getting in touch with you. So that's what that's all about, and make sure you know your conversion rate and are tracking that month over month. The next metric that's really useful for you to know is the average order value, your AOV, which is how much people are spending on average. This is mostly useful if you are someone who sells products, but can also be useful if you sell services. So if you, for example, sell products and one person buys one sticker that's just $3, and then one person buys an order that's $100, and somebody else buys a $20 print or something, you need to find out what the average order is, and that's something that you can track over time too, so that you can figure out how you can impact that and influence that, whether you want to have more people spending less money, or less people spending more money, or more people spending more money. Whatever your goal is, you can track that by making sure you know how that is going. Right now, my average order value is $20, and I would really love to get that up to $40 because that would change my life and that would make things a lot easier. I would need less orders, but I could make double the amount of money, and that would make things a lot more efficient and effective for me, but still be providing a lot of value for my customers. Then that would be amazing. You need to be able to know those numbers, to be able to make those decisions and set those goals, and to be able to figure out how to make that happen, right? So knowing your average order value is really helpful. And like I said, you can do that if you have services too. You can figure out like, okay, I've had this many clients over the last 6 months, and on average, each client has spent this much money or booked in this amount of work. This is how much I would love to get it to. How can I make that happen? What packages could I set up, or do I need to increase my prices, or do I need to pitch things differently? What can I do to be able to increase that average order value? The next metric that you can look at, or that you need to know, is your profit per item. For every item that you make and sell, you need to know how much profit you make on that product so that you can make sure that you are making a profit. You need to take into account the materials that it takes to make that product, but also the packaging that's required to package up that product and send it, the time that it took for you to make and create it and bring it into the world. You need to figure out how much profit you make per item to make sure that you are making a profit and that you can price your items appropriately and make sure that you are running things at a win, that you are winning and profiting off your products. We don't want to be running at a loss here, people. That is not the goal. Next metric that you need to know is the customer lifetime value. So this is how much a customer spends over their lifetime on average. Again, this is something you can do as somebody who sells products or services. Ideally, somebody doesn't just spend money with you once, right? We want them to either come back again or multiple times again and again and again and again. So you can take a range of people, a range of clients, a range of customers, and figure out how much they have spent over their lifetime on average. Again, if you have a e-commerce system, this might be something that tells you. Otherwise, you can just take a sample and kind of figure out an average. And this is really useful because, again, like I said earlier, it's way easier to encourage somebody to come back again and become a repeat customer than it is to get somebody new to purchase for the first time. It's actually proven that it's easier and cheaper to get somebody to return and come back than it is to find somebody new as a customer. So the goal is to increase the overall lifetime value of a customer. Right now, your lifetime customer value might be quite low, but you should be having a goal to increase that overall lifetime value so that in the future, people are coming back and over time spending loads more, right? So that's a really useful thing to start tracking so that you can know, okay, this is where I'm at now. How can I improve that? Where do I want to get it to? What would be a great ideal customer lifetime value for my business? And last but not least, and possibly the most important and most basic ones that if you're not doing this, please make this the one that you are tracking is your monthly revenue, expenses, and profit. And these are scary words that can be overwhelming, but please make sure that you're doing it because it's really important. And as a business owner, you need to know what's going on financially in your business. You need to know that so that you can make the right decisions for your business and so that you can feel empowered and in control as a business owner, because you are a business owner. You are a CEO. It's your responsibility to make and manage and look after this money. So in order to do that, you just need to know how much money you make, how much money you spend, and what's left. And that's all that revenue, expenses, and profit is. It's not that hard. And you can use a template, you can download templates, you can use your calculator. You don't have to figure out everything in your head. It can be really, really basic. Basically, your monthly revenue is just how much money came into your bank account. And then your expenses, your monthly expenses, is how much money came out of your bank account that month. And then your profit is how much money is the difference between those two numbers. So how much money is left, or maybe you even had a minus. And that's okay. That happens sometimes. It's not ideal, but sometimes we have to spend money to make money, right? And it just happens. But you need to know that that's happened, and you need to plan for that to happen, and you need to have a process in place for what happens when that does happen. And you need to make sure that's part of your strategy and all of that stuff. So make sure you know and you're tracking how much money you're making each month, how much you're spending, and how much is left, so that you can keep on top of that and you have a big picture understanding of where your business is at and what's going on and what maybe needs to change. Maybe you need to bring in some more money, or you need to cut down on some spending, or you can celebrate that you've made loads, or that you've been really good at your spending, or maybe you can spend a little bit more because you've done really well. Whatever situation you're in, it's great because you know where you are at. That's the important part. So now we've talked about those different types of metrics. Let's talk about how to track those metrics. Every month, I track these metrics and I do it in Notion. You could also do this in a spreadsheet. You could use Airtable. I've used that in the past. You could do it in a Google Doc. You could do it in a note. I wouldn't recommend doing it on pen and paper, but you can if you want to. Anything that makes it possible and doable and achievable for you. The reason I recommend doing it on the computer is just so that it's easily accessible wherever you are and you don't lose it and all of that stuff. But just make a table of some kind or a list of some kind and track it that way. That's all you have to do, is just write down the numbers and then figure out what goal you want to achieve for next month if you want to do it that way, and keep track of them every month. I set a calendar date in my calendar every month. I block aside some time on the first Monday of every month, and that's when I do this every month. I also do it every quarter, and then I do a big review every year as well, so that I can keep track of all of these things on a bigger picture. I can look at things in more detail and see where I need to make bigger changes or review things on a bigger scale as well. But I'm at least checking in on them once a month. As I mentioned as well, where you can find these metrics might be on your social media platforms, in your social media schedulers, in your email marketing provider tools, in Google Analytics, in your shop software, in other analytics software like Fathom Analytics, in your banking software or your accounting software. You can automate some of these processes if you have some project management tools that have inbuilt automations, or you could use tools like Zapier or Make, but some of it you might just have to do manually. I actually like doing a lot of this manually because it means I am making sure I'm going through it all manually. I put in all of my expenses one by one manually each month because I like to go through all of my expenses manually so that I know what I'm spending and I can audit everything I'm spending and make sure that I need to be spending all of those different things. My VA was like, "Do you want me to automate that?" And I was like, "No, I actually really want to make sure I'm seeing that because if it just automatically goes in, then I won't see it. It kind of bypasses me. But I want to make sure that I'm taking the time every month to look at what I'm spending and have a look at these analytics and make sure I'm really taking notice and making decisions, cutting down things I need to, adding things I need to, making changes, doing all the decision making that I need to as a business owner. So that is all that I wanted to share with you about the key metrics that creatives need to track as a creative business owner. As you might have heard before, what gets measured gets managed. So if you want to take your business to the next level, you need to understand these numbers and stay on top of them. So start getting a little nerdy. I know it might not be the most exciting thing that your creative brain wants to pay attention to, but it's really important and will really impact your business. So start paying attention to those numbers and let me know how you get on. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, if you want to start tracking these numbers, please check out Notion. It is the all-in-one workspace that you can use to track all these numbers, brainstorm ideas, keep all your business information, and so much more. So check out my link in the description for that brand experience audit template and just to check out Notion in general. Other than that, I will see you in the next episode. Bye!
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion and choosing to spend time with me learning all about branding, business, and all things creativity. You can find more episodes just like this one at makerandmoxie.com/podcast. If you like this one, you can tap that subscribe or follow button so that you're notified about each and every new episode. And if you've got a spare second, please leave a review on iTunes or wherever it is that you're listening to this podcast, because I would absolutely 100% love to hear from you. If there were some helpful goodies in this episode for you, it would mean the world to me as well if you could screenshot that podcast player right now, hop on over to Instagram or Twitter and tag us at Maker and Moxie. By subscribing, reviewing, and sharing, you're helping reach more creators just like you, so that together we can make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. We can't achieve this mission without you, so your support means the absolute world. I will talk to you in the next episode, but until then, keep creating.